everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Ashlyn. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's video is going to be kind of a chit chat with me, sit down with me, talk with me type video. I'm going to talk about my whole experience this past year being in Italy. We have 3 more years to go, so we have quite a while, but I just kind of wanted to do a video about how my past year here has been, how adjusting here has been, where we've traveled, kind of just like a huge overview. The first thing I want to talk about is where we have traveled. So I'm gonna have to peek on my phone real quick just to look. I got here at the end of September last year. Coming here was just a horrible time. It was hard. The government messed up my visa. It has felt like a year, but it's also felt a little bit longer in my opinion. I feel like I've been here longer than a year, but at the same time it's gone by fast, like if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'm gonna quickly talk about where we have traveled to so far this past year that we've been here. For anyone who doesn't know, the military does pay for a large chunk of your moving costs and expenses, but at the same time they don't pay for a lot of hidden things that you don't think about, and so a lot of people end up spending around $7,000 to $10,000 moving here. So the military, long story short, does not pay for a lot of things, and you end up being in debt moving here most of the time. So we decided we did not want to go travel crazy when we first moved here. We definitely wanted to travel because we were like, why would we postpone the travel when we're already here? Like, let's not waste time. So we've traveled only in Italy. We have not left the country yet, but when this next new year starts in January, we definitely want to start traveling more out of the country. So I'll put pictures up, but the first place that we traveled to, I guess not really traveled, but especially at this base, when you first come here, I feel like 99% of the people first go to Venice, because Venice is only an hour train ride from here, and Venice is just like no other place. Venice is probably one of my top favorite places that we've been to so far in Italy. Just nowhere is like Venice, and it is amazing. I feel like every time we go to Venice there is something new. Like you can go to the typical spots and like the touristy spots, but I feel like every time I go to Venice there is something new. And so my grandfather actually came here with me whenever I first came here. He was here for 2 weeks and we went to Venice. That was super fun. I think I've been to Venice 6 times now, and I'm about to go for 7. So it's just crazy to me that I can say that, but for us it's just like a car ride there, or a train ride. It's not that far. And then the next place we went to was Bolzano and Murano for the Christmas markets. This is North Italy in the Alps, I believe. That was super pretty. I loved going there. It was very like wintry feeling, so it was around Christmas time, so there was a bunch of Christmas markets. It was very wintry feeling. It was cozy. We didn't go skiing, but there's skiing up there. It was like snowy, and I loved it. The food was great, and we definitely want to go back. Probably not this Christmas, but maybe next Christmas, or go to Germany for the Christmas markets, because those are really pretty up there in Germany. I'm not gonna say how many times we've been to Venice, because if I include that, that's just gonna be way too many. For Jordan's birthday, we went to Milan, which is really cool. Milan is definitely a trip where I feel like if you go once, you don't need to go again. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like I feel like when you go to Milan, you see the cathedral, you do the touristy things. It's about a good 1 or 2 day trip, and then you're done. Unless you're going for like fashion week or something, there's not really a reason to go to Milan unless you just want to go and be in Milan. I feel like Jordan and I will go to Milan probably 1 or 2 more times before, like while we're here in Italy, but we haven't really had an itch to go back just because it's very like there's stuff to do there, but it's not as touristy as a bunch of people think it is. And then after that we went to Verona. Verona again is like a day trip to us. It's 2.5 hours. I did not even know what Verona was until I moved here. Verona is I believe where Romeo and Juliet was based out of, was in Verona, Italy. And so it's very historic. It's very pretty. I love going to Verona too. They have their own amphitheater where you can go inside, and it used to hold like back in the old days like Roman fights and like stuff like that. Now it's a working amphitheater, and I believe it's the oldest amphitheater slash arena that is still in use today for the same reasons. It is very old, and Jordan and I recently just went and toured there, and it was really nice. I definitely recommend Verona because it is very pretty and it's not that far from here. Next we went to Pisa, which Pisa was literally just for a few hours. I have a vlog about that. I can attach like all my travel vlogs down below, but we went to Pisa, and this was in June I believe, and it was crazy. Summertime. We agreed that we're never really going to travel in the summertime ever again because it was just so crazy and hectic. But we went to Pisa. We went there for the tower and then we stayed the night, and then the next day we went to Florence. Florence was pretty, but again, we were only there for a few hours. It was the beginning of June, and Jordan really just wanted to do like a rapid fire trip to Florence, Pisa, and Rome. So Florence and Pisa aren't that far from each other. So we did Florence and Pisa within 2 days. We definitely want to go back to Florence and Pisa and do like a full trip there so that we can kind of just like explore more and do more things. And then after that we went to Rome. Rome was amazing. It was crowded and it was hot. Oh my gosh, it was so hot in Rome. If you can avoid traveling during summer and going to Rome, please do. It was terrible. There were so many people there. It was so hot. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was hectic. I'm glad that we went, but it was just crazy hectic and expensive. So please go on the off seasons like fall, spring, and probably winter, where there's not going to be that many people. We did not get to go to the Colosseum or the Roman Forum or anything like that because it was just so busy and hot. So Rome was great. It was fun, but do not recommend going to the summer. And then after that we went to Positano with my friend Lindsay. She came to visit and we went to Positano and the Amalfi Coast area, and again, that was beautiful, but it was just like, oh my goodness, it was crazy crowded and hot. And then after that I went to Burano, which is an island off of Venice. It is very colorful. I know I said I wasn't going to involve Venice, but this is a little bit different. So Burano is an island of Venice. Venice is made up of like 100 different islands, maybe probably even more, and it is the island that you see that's very colorful. All the buildings have their own different color. It is really pretty. They're also known for lace and doilies, so they make a lot of that there. That was really fun. I went with my friend Brittany, and I also vlogged that, so if you want to see that vlog, look down below. And then the last one on here is Bologna. It is known for food. It is like the food capital of Italy. There's a lot of pasta there and a lot of pizza. I would say the best food that I've had is probably in Bologna. I feel like everything is handmade. But that is all of the places that we've been this past year, which is kind of crazy. I feel like that was a lot that I just had to spit out. So next I'm going to talk about adjusting to the base here. So our previous base was Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha. At the time when I was at Offutt, I honestly did not like it and I thought that it was awful. Only because I grew up in Texas where everything was bigger, better, and just nicer. So moving to Omaha in the Midwest, where Omaha is kind of by itself, there's not really any other metroplexes near it, and I just felt so alone, and I just felt like Omaha it's not near as big as the DFW metroplex. So now that I look back, I miss Omaha so much. I did not realize how nice and how up to date their base was. The mission at Offutt was totally different than the mission here at Aviano, and so I feel like Jordan didn't work as much and as hard at our last base. I feel like the hours were about the same, but I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like it was a lot more low-key and a lot more just loose at the last base, and I just feel like Offutt was set up better. It had better facilities, it just ran smoother, and it had some really nice amenities to it. And I feel like Aviano here does not have that, and I was not expecting that moving here. Here at Aviano, unless you're seeing your primary care physician, at least for spouses, you have to go off base. So soon I'm getting a dental cleaning. I have to go off base for that. Which I know back in the States you do have to go off base for, you know, a lot of different things healthcare wise, but you're not going in a different country where people speak different languages and the culture is different. I remember I went to my cardiologist. I had to go to Blue Medical Center, which is an Italian medical center. I went to my cardiologist there, and I just remember the visit just being so culturally different from being here in America, or being in America. Like, for example, I had to get an echocardiogram done, which is basically where they do an ultrasound of your heart. And so when they do that, you have to take like all of your clothes off so that they can do that. I feel like in the States, whenever they need to do stuff like that, they're like, okay, let me give you a gown, like go ahead and get undressed, I'll come back in like when you're comfortable, and then we can do the testing. But literally I was sitting there and the doctor was like, okay, you just need to take your shirt off, like take everything off. And I just kind of looked at Jordan and I was like, right now? And he's like, yeah, just take it off. And I just felt really uncomfortable because I guess culturally, like, people here aren't ashamed to be not dressed, like especially when you go to beaches and stuff. So I was like, okay, So I sat on like the little bed thing, and typically when I get an ultrasound done, they will at least cover you with something. But while he was doing the whole ultrasound, I did not have anything covering me. And while he was doing that, some nurse or somebody just walked in and left the door open. It wasn't for long, but it was long enough where there was patients sitting in like the hallway where the door was, and I was about to be like, can someone close that door? Like, why is the door open while I'm completely braless and shirtless? And that like was a huge culture shock to me, because in America, privacy is a big thing, but I feel like here, or at least from my experience that I had, it was not taken as seriously. It's just little things like that. Adjusting from the base is really hard. Adjusting to the Italian lifestyle, honestly, is way harder than I thought it was going to be this past year. Just their culture and the way they do things here is really hard when you come from America. I feel like if you come from another European country, you're like, oh, this is great, or like this is normal. But coming from America, where everything is bigger, better, convenient, like it is just so different and so much harder than I thought it was gonna be. Some like examples is the store hours here. So in the middle of the day, they like to take what's called riposo, and it is basically a 3-hour-long break where a bunch of stores close, are not open, and then they reopen. Not every store closes for riposo, but I would say about 80% of stores do. So it was really hard when Jordan was on night shift and he'd wake up around like 1 or 2 and you'd be like, hey, let's go do something, or let's run to the store, and nothing would be open, because I think the hours are around like 12 to 3. The food is super hard to adjust to here, in my opinion. There's basically no Mexican food here. I just feel like there's no variety in food at all. You can have Asian food, Italian food, and that's it. There's a few American restaurants here, but they're just not that good. The burgers and stuff are not that good. And Italian food here and Italian food back in the States, two totally different things. Italian food here is very plain, it's very bland, and there's no chicken alfredo, there's no like strombolis, like there's not what people think. It's nowhere near Olive Garden. There's no breadsticks. Their version of a breadstick is like a long hard piece of bread. Nowhere near what we think like what Italian food is. You get tired of Italian food super fast, and it tends to start tasting the same, so it is hard. Just the Italian culture has been super hard to adjust to. I also wanted to talk about my dog for a second. Thor came last November, and I feel like the first few months he was here, he was kind of like skittish and a little bit worried that we were gonna like leave him and stuff, but Thor has been adjusting really well. He's actually right here. Thor has been adjusting super well. Now I feel like he just knows the routine. Dad goes to work, mom hangs out with me, she goes out sometimes, eating dinner, you know, he has a routine, so that's nice. I feel like Jordan has adjusted pretty well to his job too, but Jordan has made some good friends here. He has adjusted well to his job. I feel like the hardest thing we had to go through this past year was him on night shift. That was, oof. That was not fun, and I'm not looking forward to when he goes back to night shift. He honestly has adjusted to this Italian lifestyle better than I have. I wouldn't say he loves it here, but he's content with it. Like, he doesn't want to stay, but he doesn't want to leave. At our last base, everything was just so smooth, and everything was like smooth sailing. But here, moving overseas, I just feel like, oh, it was just so much stress and so much work. The whole thing where like he likes it here and I don't like it here, I feel like that kind of like put some like tense between us, and we were just kind of like not like angry at each other, but it was just kind of like just some tense feelings. I hope that I don't sound like not grateful in this video. So the biggest thing that I guess I wanted to talk about like over this past year was just my like, I guess like inner struggles being here. Like I mentioned, I feel like I had some struggles at our last base, being away from family and being lonely. Luckily, I had family an hour, no, 2.5 hours away in Iowa, so that was nice. But it was different, because even though they're family, it wasn't like all my family was in one spot, if that makes sense. And I didn't realize how nice I had it when my family was only 2.5 hours away. I was very spoiled, and I didn't realize how good I had it. I just didn't realize how good I had it, because it is so lonely here. I feel like that is the biggest problem being overseas, is the loneliness. I have been so blessed though to have friends and make a lot of friends here. But I just feel like the loneliness here has been the main component of also why it's been hard to kind of adjust here. It's so dang lonely, and I feel like the base does not help at all because spouses cannot work here unless it is at the base. So if you're a hairdresser or a photographer, or if you do freelance or even like babysitting, you're technically not supposed to be making money. And also a lot of Italians work at the base, so I feel like it's not a first come first serve type thing here. I feel like a lot of the Italians get first in line when it comes to jobs. So a lot of spouses don't get to work here, which I feel like has been hard for me because back at our previous base, I worked a lot. I was full-time, but I really am grateful that Jordan and I get to be here. And this past year has taught me so much about traveling and how people live their lives in other countries, because before this I hadn't left the country. I also feel like there's no more momentum here for spouses because the only college you can do is online, which is fine. I know a lot of people do online college, like strictly online college at the state, like back in the States. I love to pursue a degree in something that requires clinicals, and I can't do clinicals here. So I had to change my whole different career path and everything. So hopefully I'm starting college next year, but it's going to be all online, and it's something that I would like to do, but it's not like my career passion. And that is something that has stumped me a lot, is like I just feel like there's no progression for spouses here. Traveling, I feel like, is the only thing that's been keeping me sane here, is traveling, because I cannot wait for next year to start traveling outside of the country and exploring more of Europe. Literally, that is the only thing that is keeping me here, besides my husband, is traveling. I guess I'm going to go over our future plans within the next few years here, and then I'll be done with this video because I feel like I've been talking this whole time, because I have. We would love to go to different countries next year. We really want to hit up Germany because I feel like that'll be fun. My dog is right here. He's a big boy. I feel like I've worked on myself a lot, and so this upcoming year I think I want to start college, and I want to hopefully start working at the school on the base. So I think I'm gonna try to like do that and like do a few things. I'm gonna try to find more new hobbies, but other than that, I feel like we just really want to travel more, and I want to start working on school because I did college for a while and then I stopped. So I really want to get back and going to school and doing all of that jazz. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to check out my travel vlogs that I was talking about down below. Anyways guys, I will catch y'all next week. Bye everybody.